it's now more than 30 years since I've been doing Feng Shui. It obviously was not the only thing I did when I was working. I was working as a therapist for a long time. I did osteopathy, acupuncture and psychotherapy. But I had a special interest in Feng Shui because I moved house and everything went wrong for 3 months. I had the most enormous run of bad luck. And it kind of took me 3 months to connect, and I thought, you know, I'm used to having to deal with stuff, but this is insane. So what has Feng Shui got to do with romance? So we just spoke about visual triggers and what's around you. So there are certain areas that specifically relate to this in your home. One of them is the southwest, and where you measure the southwest from and where you measure the relationship area is very important. It needs to be the geometric center. Your relationship area, according to your Qua number, you'll find in the book. We'll go into that later. But again, these areas are specific to relationships and can be relationships generally. So I want to talk for a bit about the most success I ever had with one lady who basically called me up because what she was doing, she had a great strategy, and she was going on dates 3 times a week, which if you want to meet someone, that's what you've got to do. You've got to have a volume search. There are several ways of doing that. But she was going on 3 dates a week. Date, by the way, is an hour and a half. First date is an hour and a half, doesn't have to be any more. So she had a brilliant strategy. One of the people who was potentially interested in her came to visit her home, and he said to her, I think he was half Asian, he said to her, oh my God, you've got to get a Feng Shui consultant in here. And that was why she called me. And what was happening was, she was a single lady, all her work areas and her relaxation areas were mixed up. There was no place that was particularly set up as work and other places that were particularly set up as relaxation. Everything was all together. Plus, on top of that, her main romance area, there was a toilet, downstairs toilet there. Anyway, so we did some initial work, and she basically called me up after 3 weeks and she said, well, yeah, I'm not really sure it's working because her problem was, she would go on a first date, they would at least show up, this is good, showing up is good, but she'd never get asked on a second date. So that was why she basically called me in. So I said, all right, we've got to up the ante a bit more, so we'll go to the downstairs loo. So what she got was some very nice couple artwork. Not quite as big as that, but remember size is important? It was about that big. She got a statue of a man and a woman together in an embrace. She also got a big rock, right? She got some more couple artwork to put up there and some candles. Candles in a toilet area are quite, they don't look too weird. She did that. In 2 weeks, I got this lovely text, and she sent me a picture, and she was standing there beaming with a big bunch of flowers. And she said, I'm going on a second date. And he had sent some flowers to her work, which was really, really lovely. So what happened then was they did get engaged. She went to move in with him. Fortunately, she called me in again, because one of the things that happened in his place was he had a sink opposite a cooker. This is not very good for relationships at all. It's a sort of divorce formation in some respects. And so I looked at this, and it was a fairly new build property. Beautiful. I mean, the kitchen was immaculate, as new builds are. And I thought, oh my God, what do we do? There's no place to put cures. It was tiny. I said, look, you're never in the kitchen together. He cooks or you cook. That's it. That's how you do it. That's how it works out. So they did get married. They now have a little boy. it all kind of worked out. And that actually, from the start of her calling me in to going on the second date, was 6 weeks. However, she did have strategy as well. So the two together, Feng Shui and strategy, work really nicely. Now, this particular year is the year of the wood dragon. And there's something that goes on in relation to time that's really important, which is, it's called doing changes for the year. And I've got a whole chapter in my book about it. The reason I have, it's very important, a lot of people who are into this subject don't speak about it. If you have a bucket and it has holes in it, what happens? You increase the energy, you increase the flow, and do you hang on to anything? No. This is why it's important to deal with the Sha-Qi area. What you're doing is you are making sure that there are no holes in your bucket, which, if you're doing this for money, is even more important, right? Some people would say. So this particular year, the Sha-Qi area is considered to be the West. Okay, so that's, you know, easy enough to find with your compass. What do you do for the West? You basically, you make sure there's no, Sha-Qi energy is earth energy, so fire energy feeds it. So what you want to do is remove fire from the West. How do you do that? If you've got candles there, if you've got red objects there, especially if you've got mirrors. Mirrors are a plus, plus, plus. They magnify energy. Okay. So if you've already got those there, if you like crystals and you've got clear quartz crystal or cut glass crystal, it's doing the same thing. It's acting as a magnifier. It's not that these things are wrong, it's that if you put them in that area, you're making a leaky bucket. Who wants to do that, right? So you remove them. The other thing you want to do, you don't want to emphasize the negative energy, you want to drain it. How do you drain it? You drain it with metal. So round metallic objects, anything round and metal, you can get, garden centres often have metallic balls, that will do it. Christmas balls will do it. The main thing is that you have a round metal object, at least in the West. This is what to subtract, okay? Remember you found the relationship area, right? Number one, clutter, okay? Clutter anywhere isn't helpful, but if it's in a relationship area, it's not helping your romance. The other thing, anywhere in your home, which is going to stop change, is mirrors directly opposite each other. You're in a never-ending loop. So if you've got that anywhere in your home, I suggest you change that. Just move one of the mirrors. Mirrors in your bedroom, what happens with that is something or someone comes between the couple. Now, again, for single people, what it means, if you've got mirrors in your bedroom, the people you attract will all be in relationships with someone else. Remember we said available was good? Available is really nice. We like available. In terms of a married couple, what does that do? What it means is that something comes between you. It might be another person, it might be a child, it might be a work situation, could be in-laws, all sorts of things. So if you don't want that, that's something you change. If you're looking for someone, this is Sharon only, you look and see whether you've got a lot of artwork of single people. Because you're feeding your subconscious with that idea. You're looking for paired objects, pairs, okay? The other thing which is, I put in here because it's a horror story for anything, for trying to create anything. If you've got a mirror reflecting a toilet where you can see yourself sitting on the loo, it is a Feng Shui nightmare. And trust me, I've been to places where people have done that. Usually, the thing that it affects most is money. And I've been into homes where people have millions and they're losing money hand over fist. This is something you sort out ASAP. The other thing are wind chimes. Right, now what I say to people about wind chimes is, are you very wealthy? Do you want to distribute your wealth and your largesse? And you can have tons of wind chimes if you like, but they are dispersing agents. And if you put them anywhere other than in the Shang-Chi area, you are dispersing, you're getting rid of things. So my question is, why would you want to do that? Okay? None of these things are wrong. They're not wrong. It has an energetic effect. If you don't want the effect, change it. It's fine. What to add? Everything you see over there. Okay? There are 4 peach blossom animals. There's the horse, the rooster, the rabbit, and the rat. Right, now, to do peach blossom luck, you've got to know what your Chinese animal sign is. Who already knows this? Right. If you don't, have a look up there and see what your animal is. Okay? Mine happens to be the rat. Okay? That's just the way it is. So, if you were born in the year of the rabbit, sheep, or boar, or the pig, your peach blossom animal is the rat. Anyone else born in the year of the rabbit, sheep, or pig? Right. So you go, rat, oh dear. You can get soft, cuddly rats, right? You can get little, you need 2 of them. To do peach blossom luck, you need 2 of them. It can be a picture, it can be a photograph, it can be a little statue, but there are cuddly rats to be found, right? And you go, really? Why is my animal a rat? Well, if you think about it, if you're one of these Chinese animal signs, you tend to be fairly outgoing and fairly, I won't call it naive, trusting, I'll say, and optimistic. Your peach blossom animal protects you. The rat is cunning, devious, and is there for you, right? So remember, you're doing this to attract a mate who is worthy of you. So the next one is the rooster, snake, or ox, okay? So lovely, your peach blossom animal is the horse, okay? So again, you need 2 horses. Natural home, the south, okay? It means one of them is always lives in the south. You set up your home, so you've got a horse always in the south. But this particular year, you also want one in the northwest, okay? Because that's the peach blossom area for this year. So you've got 2 horses, one lives in the south, and one this year is going to live in the northwest. Okay? Who is born tiger, horse, or dog? Horse. Right, okay, so your peach blossom animal is the rabbit. Nice and cuddly, okay? If you look at the difference, both of these are quite fierce animals, tiger, horse and dog, right? So your peach blossom animal is rather softer, the rabbit, just sort of take the edge off a little bit, right? Natural home, the east. 1 rabbit, always in the east. This year, another one in the northwest. Again. Dragon, rat, or monkey. Have we got anyone here in either of those? Okay. So natural home is the west. So if you find a rooster image this year, try not to find a red rooster. We don't want anything red in the west. Remember, the west is the Shang-Chi area this year? Okay. So maybe we'll have a black rooster. Okay. 1 in the west, another one in the northwest. If you're already in a relationship, now this is for most of you here, what you want is longevity. So you add mountain artwork to the northeast. The northeast is the mountain area anyway. Mountains are to do with stability. Does a mountain move very often? Unless it's a volcano, I don't think so. Right? Mountain artwork. The other one that's interesting and more challenging, especially if you're already in a relationship, is to agree on everything in your shared space. Now, if you're very wealthy, you probably have personal space with your husband or your significant other. If you're not very wealthy, then you may have very little shared space. But the idea is that everything that's in your shared space, you agree is there. Can anyone tell me why? There is a very obvious reason for this. It sends an extremely powerful message. The message is, I value you more than any material object, which is what's important. Also, the other thing that's really fun is to do with love languages. There's research on this. There are 5 main languages of love. Everyone has 2 that are most important. This is what is the proof you have that your partner loves you. It could be words of affirmation. In other words, you always get encouragement, or you always give encouragement. I would like to point out as well, is whatever your main love languages are, is very easy for you to give, because that's your evidence, but it may not be your partner's evidence, okay? Physical touch, obvious. Quality time, difficult if your other half works abroad. Acts of service are great. Gifts, some people, gifts are very important. So the main thing is you use them. Remember, the ones that are important to you may not be important to your partner. And if some of these are very important to you, you need to communicate that it is really important.